the Waffle podcast. My name is Liz Ward. I am a crochet designer living in York in the UK with my two Bengal cats. Today is the 25th of January. It is a Monday. Both Cal and Puka are in here, but you can't see them at the moment. They're kind of causing chaos behind the scenes, which is, if I seem a little bit flustered, I've already recorded this 4 times. It hasn't gone well. Let's see how we go this sort of time. Just the beginning bit. I haven't recorded the whole podcast. We're not that chaotic yet. But yes, if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's lovely to see you all again and again. Thank you so much for all the comments on the beginning of the episode, the All My Whips episode, which was last week. Yeah, I have taken your comments on board, and you will see. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Hope you stick around. Hope you enjoy what you find on this podcast. It's pretty much just me rambling on about what I've been making with my cats, causing chaos in the background. Yes, there is a subscribe button which you can hit to stay tuned. There's also a bell button next to it which will inform you of when I upload videos. I do have a bit of a hectic upload schedule, but I'm trying to stick to the 2 weeks for every podcast and doing either a tutorial or a studio vlog in the in-between weeks. That noise you can hear is Puka. Yes. Cal, you gonna come over here? Cal, come here. Come on, darling. Come on. Oh dear. Yeah, Cal is around today. She hasn't been around for the past couple of episodes. But then Puka is also, so there's a bit of... yes. Yeah, so anyway, I am going to dive right in with finished objects. There are a lot of finished objects this week, mainly because after my whips episode last time, I had all those projects out and I had the motivation to start working on some of those sock whips. At the moment, Hannah of the Corner of Craft is running the Lockdown Sockdown Cal, which is where you can knit on new socks, knit on old socks. There isn't really any rules. It's mainly just knit on socks during the UK national lockdown, which is what we're in at the moment. And as I'm not going anywhere, I'm certainly getting a lot of knitting done. So yeah, first off I want to start with a couple of pairs of socks that I finished before my last episode, but I didn't show finished objects on the last episode because it was a whip episode. Oh, I feel like I'm rambling already. I do apologise. Here we go, let's start with these. So these are a vanilla sock, knitted bottom up, yeah, knitted toe up. So I started here and worked the way up. And these were knit from a sock blank by Fine Fish Yarns. This was a bit of an experiment to see if I would enjoy knitting with a sock blank. Spoiler warning, didn't really. I really enjoy the look of the socks. I think the randomness you get with the sock blank gives it a character which you can't get any other way, and that's what I wanted a pair of socks like. The actual process of knitting, not my favourite. I felt like I did knit from the sock blank, so I was unravelling it as you go. I don't have it with me to show you. It's pretty much a pre-knit bit of fabric if you've not seen a sock blank before, which is then dyed as a swash of knit fabric, and then you unravel it and knit from that. You can skein it up and knit from that. I didn't, I knit from the sock blank, but it did feel like it was fighting me. And so these weren't my most favourite thing to knit. I put a contrast heel in, but other than that it's just all the sock blank as it is. This was by Ducky Darling's, one of her Misfit minis. Yeah, I think it works really well. It's a lovely peach and it goes with that. And these just are really fun. I mean, they've got some proper neon pops in it there. It's lovely yarn. I really do like Fine Fish yarns. But yeah, you can see it's got fun neon pops in, while it being quite subtle and classic. Yeah, all my socks are knit using a 2.25mm needle and using the magic loop method. I am currently favouring to knit socks toe up. That's mainly just because I've only just learned how to do a toe-up cast on. So the way when I learn things, I tend to repeat them over and over again, so then they're stuck in my memory and I can just do them without having to refer to a tutorial or YouTube video or something like that. And that's pretty much where I am now with this cast on. I can do it without having to refer to anything, and so I'm just going to continue doing that until it's completely stuck in there. So yeah, these are my first pair of finished socks. They are, these were actually 60 stitches, I don't think I mentioned that. I'm experimenting at the moment with the fit of my socks, because I've found that ones I've knit in the past at 64 stitches just go a bit baggy and just aren't as clingy on my foot as I want them to be, especially after wearing them for a little bit. They tend to sort of really bag around the instep and heel section. That might just be my feet, I might just have weird feet, but let's hope not. So yeah, I am just playing around with the fit of my socks and my stitch count, as you will find out as we carry on. There are more socks to go. Yeah, spoiler warning, lot of socks today. Okay, second pair of socks, and these were knit for the Strictly Sock Along, so another make along, and this is yarn by Dye Candy, and it is her Rainforest colourway. It is absolutely stunning. You can tell that I do enjoy a bit of a spot of neon in there. Again, these were knit toe up, and I put the contrast heel in again, but otherwise left the yarn to speak for itself. The contrast I put in it was a Malabrigo. I can't remember the colour, but I've used it in a few things. I used it in my jig shawl and various things like that, and it's just a nice dark variegated colour. And I thought it went quite well with these and picked up the dark bits in the yarn. Now, I didn't do vanilla on these, I did a ribbed sock. A very, very wide rib. I think it's a 6 by 2. So 6 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. The only thing that I did that would be considered a bit different is that if you're, because I started these from the toe, and if I was knitting 6 purling 2, knitting 6 purling 2 across the instep of the foot, I would end up having a purl ridge on one side but not on the other. So I did that on needle 1, and then on needle 2, when I got to the last 2 stitches on needle 2, I just purled those 2 stitches. And because the socks twist because they're a tube, it's not very noticeable, only maybe here when you can see where I've put the heel in, that those 2 purl stitches are actually on the other needle. But actually this is working really well. I've started another pair of socks using this method, because these, with them being ribbed, although admittedly a very open rib, it is 6 by 2, they're fitting better. So yeah, these socks are for me. I really love them. The previous socks are also for me, although I'm feeling that Mum's going to try and claim some of these. The only thing with these, I wish I'd knit them longer. They are just a little bit short in the leg. Yeah, I wish I'd knit them longer. They do fit these sock blockers, but obviously I am trying to make them fit me, not sock blockers. But yeah, there's only about 6 inches, 15 centimetres in length, so they don't go up. Like if I was wearing boots, they wouldn't come out the top of the boots. But yeah, socks number 2. Okay, and now we get on to socks that you've seen recently. So yeah, I had a lot of sock whips on last episode when I was doing my whip episode, and with Hannah of the Corner of Craft doing the lockdown sock down, I thought it was a good excuse to try and finish them. And so that's what I did. The first ones I finished are these. These are the Winter Bird socks, which is a pattern by Jules Hill of So Sweet Violet. And these are actually for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. These are my January socks. This is another make along where you aim to knit, put them down while I'm chatting, where you aim to knit a pair of socks every month in all the colours of the rainbow, and you keep them away in a lovely box of rainbow socks, and at the end of the year you have this colour wheel of beautiful socks that you've knit throughout the year, and it's kind of a present for yourself for next year. I had this pattern in my library, I don't remember when I actually purchased it, but it's kind of like this sort of flying bird design. It's really nice, it's really easy to do. These were knit to toe up again. It was a different cast on, I think, but I think I used what I know, and it's, I don't know if you can see the toe, it's kind of like the top of a hat, so it's got equal increases to come out, rather than you could get like a spine. You see how those have like a spine down the middle? This is equal all the way around, which is really nice. And then this does have increases for a, like a heel flap and gusset. It's not, it is done with short rows. You get this sort of eye of partridge design in this bit. And then carrying on up, and it has a twisted rib at the top. I love these. This yarn is absolutely beautiful. It came in a yarn swap, a fibre share package from France. So it's from Toulouse in France. The colourway is Unicorn Kisses, and the dyer was someone who was originally from the UK but now it dyes in France, and it's called Hand Drawn Yarn. Now the only thing with these is, I mean, these will probably end up going to Mum because they are definitely too big for my feet. I don't know whether it is just the way this heel is worked, but it doesn't fit my foot. I mean, you can see these are baggy around the increases here on these sock blockers, and these are my largest sock blockers. Yeah, these are baggy on my feet as soon as I put them on. It's such a shame, and it was kind of demoralising on the whole Rainbow Chronicles things, the fact that my first pair going in my box is actually not going to be for me. So it may be that I replace these at some point in my box of rainbow socks. And I do actually already have another pair of pink finished socks that I could call my January pair. So, or maybe I should just knit a pair for Mum every month and a pair for me. I think Mum would probably be quite happy with that. But yeah, those are the 3 pairs that I have on the blockers. So excuse me a moment while I shut up and put another pair on. Hey, baby. Books. Please don't do that. And these are the other pink socks that I have finished this month. Oh dear. Sorry, Puka is in the window eating a bit of plastic. She probably shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, I showed these on the All My Whips episode. They are a vanilla sock knit exactly the same way that I knit the sock blank socks. They are 60 stitches. They are knit to toe up, and I've done a short row heel. I haven't done any contrast on these. It was a yarn that I got on an eBay destash, and it's self-striping, but it had no dyer details on it whatsoever. If you recognise this yarn, please do let me know, because I'd love to check that dyer out and see what else they're doing. Yeah, so it's just the self-striping yarn as itself. It's a 2-striper, and it's got like a tonal grey and a speckled variegated pinky purple. So yeah, I don't know, let me know in the comments, can I count these in my Rainbow Chronicles? Are they pink enough? They're probably a little bit grey. Yeah. But yeah, these fit really well. So, there's not really a lot to say about them. They are vanilla socks, and it's self-striping yarn. So that is pair number 4 finished. Admittedly, only 2 of these were finished last week. Yeah. Two of them. Why spoil the surprise? Okay, sorry about that. Next up are my my Dreaming of Paris socks by Locatelli. These are beautiful. They don't really fit on the blockers, which hence why we're getting a bit of But yeah, these are knit cuff down, and they've got this lovely lace section on the top, and then it is a 1x1 row striping, and then you've got the toes in the pink main colour and the heels in the grey main colour. There is 2 of them. They do have a couple of ends that need weaving in, but I'm still counting them as a finished object. So this was another whip that I rediscovered last episode, and I really only had the heel turn and the leg of this foot to knit to finish them off, and I cracked that out in a day. So that was another lockdown, sock down finished object. Yeah, these are beautiful socks. I cannot praise the pattern enough. It is lovely. She does get you to alternate the yarns during this part of the pattern by leaving a jog in the pattern. I use the helical knitting. Apparently I just can't say words today. I use the helical knitting method, which is where you spiral them so you don't actually get a jog. If I turn that one round, there is no jogs in there whatsoever. There is still a small line, but that's just my magic loop line. These have not been blocked. I might show you these again, and I might show you these again when they've been blocked, because you can see that's quite wibbly with it being sock blank yarn. So I might show you these again when they've been blocked, but in a way I'm tempted not to block them. These fit really well at the moment. They really so I don't really want to make them any bigger, because I really do like them. They feel very fancy though. They're so pretty and so fancy. They kind of remind me of Vullenvine's podcast. They're very much sort of her sort of historical, that sort of dark and prettiness thing, if you know what I mean. If you haven't checked out her podcast, I'm sure you have if you're here, go check it out. It's always a really good podcast. Her episodes are so short now. They used to be so much longer. Okay, right. I have 2 more pairs of finished socks. So, yeah. A bit of brightness. Go from the elegant to the insert adjective of your choice. These are my zombie socks. This is a pattern I am working on. It is not perfected yet. I will have to knit a few more pairs, because while I like this lace pattern that runs down the front, I will take it off and show you properly. I'm not 100% with it yet. But yeah, though, again, knit toe up. It has a lace pattern that just runs down the front of the shop. I can't say any words today. Yeah, so again, these are knit toe up. It has this lace pattern which is really simple, that runs up the top, it has this lace pattern that runs up the instep and one side of the front of the sock. So you're literally just working that pattern on one needle, and your other needle is a rest needle where you're just knitting. And also I like that because it shows the yarn in both styles. So you get to see the lovely stockinette of how the yarn's going to play, and you get the fanciness. This contrast yarn is a mini eye dyed up. It's a really bright green. It's not actually neon, although it's showing very neon on there, and it goes well with the neon pops in the yarn. The main yarn is by My Mama Knits, and it's not so fresh zombie colourway. These were my Halloween socks that I was working on. Didn't get finished for Halloween. I have finished them with a 2x2 twisted rib. Woohoo! Quite a short rib, but it looks very fancy. I like it. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these socks. But I'm just wanting to do a bit more work on this lace design. I'll show you for why. Okay, so the idea of this pattern is that it's kind of like footsteps of a load of zombies sort of slomping along. I'm not the biggest fan of zombie films. I've watched plenty of them, but Shaun of the Dead is about my level. yeah, so that was the idea. So you get the sort of tracks and then the zombie feet walking along. I don't know. I feel like there's probably too many tracks. I think maybe there needs to be more pearl stitches in the middle so there's less tracks. Because I think these pearl stitches almost get a little bit lost to these lines. Tell me what you think. You may disagree completely with me. But yeah, my idea was just to maybe put 2 pearl stitches in between the tracks and open it up a bit that way. But yeah, other than that, I really like it. It's such a simple pattern to do. I think it's about a 6-row repeat, and only 2 of those rows you are doing anything other than knitting and purling. So you can't go too far wrong with that. But yeah, I also really love this yarn, this colour yarn. This sort of thing where it's like a very neutral colour, but then it's got pops of neons and whatnot. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So yes, they are my zombie socks. I will be working on a pattern. But yeah, I do like very, very much. Okay, I've only got 1 spare sock blocker, so forgive me for not putting both of these on sock blockers. There is 2. Apparently I can't put socks on sock blockers anymore. So I do feel like I'm repeating myself quite a lot, but the fact is on the last episode I dug out all my sock whips and pretty much just spent this week finishing them all, and that's what I've done here. This is the Shell Cove pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. It was in her Swish and Flick collective of patterns. There is 2, I'm just being too lazy to put this one on a blocker. Yeah, it's a really enjoyable pattern. It has this this design, it's just pearl stitches and slip stitches and yarn overs. It's nothing, it kind of looks a bit cabley, but it's not. So it's nothing difficult, it's really nice. But again, these are quite baggy. So these will probably end up going to Mum. And the yarn that I used for these, it's still a finished object even if there's an end. I don't know why that end is there. Yeah, the yarn that I used for these is by Stranded Dye Works, lovely Amy, and it is the Industrial Kingfisher colourway. Another one that I picked up on an eBay D-stash. It is an MCM blend. Oh, I think that's why I wasn't going to give them to Mum. Mum can't be trusted with MCM because she puts them all in the washing machine and these are felt. She won't remember not to. So yeah, I don't know. I will try them on and see, but they do look a bit blocky on Ugh! I am useless with words today. Yeah, they do look a bit baggy on these blockers, but we shall see. It might just be because they're not, maybe they're too long? I don't know. I obviously wasn't thinking about the fit when I knit the first one. I was just following the pattern, and when I was making the second one I just made it to match. I was not thinking about the fit. I could make these again with thinking about the fit and change it up a bit. I could put in some ribbing down the other side just to bring it in a bit, or I could knit it on a smaller needle, or just go down a size. I think this was 64 stitch, I could go down to 56. Maybe I'll try that next time. Don't know. I don't think it's a pattern I'd rush to knit again, just because, I mean, to be fair, the second one knit up really, really fast. Cannot complain about that. But the pearl stitches, when you got to that section, it was only that little section where there was this patterning. I don't know, it kind of deflated me a little bit every time I got to it, which is not a good feeling when you're knitting. So yeah, it's not going to be something I rush to knit again. However, I love the look of the finished socks. So yes, that is it for finished objects. And I think that is So 4, so yeah, that is it for finished objects, and there is 7 pairs of finished socks. 7. Yeah. So 5 of those were knit in a week, which is nuts. But I'm not really doing a lot else at the moment. Yeah, I'm currently waiting for some work to come in. I've got some crochet work coming in, but I'm waiting for the supplies. And it kind of felt like all last week that's what I was doing, just sort of waiting for those supplies to come in. And they turned up on Friday, so yeah. And there was a lot of knitting that went on last week. I'm not complaining. Okie doke, so we'll move on to works in progress. I'll start off with some crochet just because it's here. It's not a lot to show you, so it'll be a quick one. Last time I started a granny square blanket to add into my square a day. So after I've knit a square, I will make a crochet square, just because I've still got quite a lot of leftovers, and I thought it'd be fun. I just thought it'd up my crochet mojo a bit. It did. I knit about 30 crochet squares in a day. It's slowed off since then. I think joining them is the it's my downfall when it comes to crochet blankets, because I'm very fussy about the joins. I decided to go for this one in the end. It's where you join by using a double crochet in UK terms or a treble in American terms to give you this lattice effect in between them. I really like this, but not when it comes to crossing in the middle of 4 squares. I've tried it a few different ways. I think this is my favourite way. I don't know if you can really tell the difference. But yeah, none of these look the same when it comes to joining the 4 corners together. So more experimenting is needed on that. But yeah, joining together I haven't got very far. I've only got 9 squares on here so far. But this does not need to be massive. It is going to go on the back of my sofa just to kind of look pretty, because it is fingering weight and it is crochet, so it's full of holes. It's never going to be the warmest blanket, but it is going to look lovely on the back of my sofa. So it doesn't need to be massive, but I am working on it every day. There are more squares than there are bits joined together, but I thought I'd show you that bit joined together just because it might be different next time. Yes, so while I am on square a day projects, this beast is here today. So this is my first time showing my mitered square blanket this year, and it is getting fairly big. If I do a sort of against my arm, that is halfway, and that is the other half. And it is that square, I think, at the moment. Oh no, not quite that way. Yeah, I put a square of this in every day. It is the first thing I work on in the morning. I get up, make myself a cup of tea, feed the cats, and then knit on this while watching whatever is up on YouTube, usually. Yes, so it's really difficult to show. It is beautiful. This is my second mitered square blanket that I've made. I use a 2.25mm circular needle and just knit flat with it. The squares have 46 stitches, so 23, 23, and then you pick up and decrease to a point. It's really easy to see how they are constructed on a yarn that is like a micro striping, because you can see the lines where it goes. Yeah, and I'm just using scraps that I have bought, I have swapped, just all my scraps. When I finished a project, it goes into here, like here are all the colours from this. Oh, my hair's covered it up, that's not good, is it? Here are all the colours from my Slipstravaganza, and yeah, whenever I finish a pair of socks, it goes in. All my advent calendar colours went in. That's mainly here. But yeah, I do want it to be really big. I want it to be at least 2 foot wide. 2 foot, that would be a dream, wouldn't it? At least 2 meters wide, and probably 2 meters 40, 2 meters 60 long. So it's going to fit over a double bed and go down to the floor. That is the plan. I say I knit a square a day. Sometimes I knit more than one a day. Sometimes it's all I want to work on in a day. I don't judge. The way I track it is in my year planner, and I have a page for my square a day blanket. I don't know how that's going to show up. So all I do is track. So the blue is what I did in 2020, and then I will pick a different colour for each month and then just add on when I've made a square. And this is not up to date because I've done 5 squares since then. 5. So yeah, and then at the end of January I'll pick a different colour, and then it'll be clear to see how many I knit in a month. That's rather fun. Oh dear. Okay, what other works in progress have I got? Okay, more works in progress. This is my easy knitting project at the moment. It is all garter stitch, and it is what I pick up when I have nothing else to work on, or it's an evening and I'm watching a film. It is the zero waist shawl. All the pattern details will be on this screen, as they are with everything else. And I am knitting it with Siobhan's Crafts yarn. Lovely neons. This colourway is Silver Lining. The colourway that's striped in the middle is Charcoal Rainbow, and the colourway at the end is Riot. It's pretty much a asymmetrical shawl pattern which you can make as long as you like. I am only going as far as this will take me, and then I will bind off. So there isn't a lot more knitting left in it. It's a bit difficult to show you because it's kind of bunched on the needles here. And yeah, it's neon and fun. Yeah. But yeah, that's my only shawl that I have on the needles at the moment. Oh no, I have another shawl, but it's not one that I'm working on. Yeah, so that is the zero waist shawl, and that is just my pick up and put down project. It just lives in the knitting bag as is. Okay. Oops. More works in progress. And I have cast on the sock that I said I would never cast on. This sock, which is a knee-length sock, and it is knit in Katia sock yarn. And you get 250-gram cakes in a box, and they gradient like this. It is not the best quality yarn. It is quite scratchy. It also is quite splitty and weird. I knit this sock about 2 years ago, and I vowed I would never knit the next one because I did not enjoy knitting with the yarn. However, call it a moment of madness. I found the yarn, the other cake. I didn't have any vanilla socks on the needles that weren't at a point where I either had to put a heel in or something. I needed some knitting for just sitting and watching telly, but I knew I was going to finish that shawl if I worked on it for like another evening, so I just wanted something different, so I cast it on. The same feelings I had about this yarn at the time of knitting that sock, I am having again. I do not recommend this yarn. I'm sure Katia do other things that are lovely, but this yarn is not for me. It's very rustic feeling. I don't mind the colours. I think the colours look quite nice. However, how this yarn has been plied, when it changes to another colour, there are it's very loosely plied in. So I keep getting like a wisp of yarn. You can see it there because it's all sort of pilled. And there are like bits of vegetable matter in the yarn as well. I'm forever picking out bits of straw. However, I have knit through the foot just because I needed some knitting, and I turned the heel this morning. So if I get up the leg, Mum has another pair of socks, which I'm sure she'll be happy with because she loves knee-length socks. And after a few washes, this might soften up and be lovely to wear. I do enjoy the colour. I do enjoy the gradient. So really can't mumble. But yeah, at least it'll be a pair of socks and not just a languishing whip. But yeah, just vanilla sock. What I'll do, I'm on 64 stitches at the moment, and what I'll do is I'll just increase every now and then until I get to 72, because obviously calves are wider. Yeah. So it's again just one that's in the knitting basket to pick up as and when. Probably knit bit on it while I'm editing, because I think everything else is at a point where I have to think about it. So yeah, final works in progress in my Floof Hunter bag. Bear with the mo. And start again. Ooh, the light's gone really nicely. This is my Floof Hunter bag, which is covered in floof. And in it I have 2 sock whips that I'm actually really excited about because I dyed the yarn for them. We are in a national lockdown at the moment, which is when I'm spending quite a lot of time at home, and one of the things I'm trying to do is get back into dyeing yarn. You can just spot this wooden dowel thing here is my warping board. I will be doing some videos about self-striping yarn coming up on YouTube very soon. But yeah, I am starting to dye self-striping yarn again, and I'm really excited about it. It's like my most favourite thing. If you watch this channel, you know how often I knit with self-striping yarn, and I really enjoy dyeing it, and I've been working on the best process on how to actually create it so that it's a viable thing, that I can keep creating it, and yeah, I'm getting there with it, I really am. So at the moment I'm just dyeing up very, very small batches. And yeah, I shall show you the latest creations. The best thing about it though is that because I have to knit a sample of every colour, I get some too. Okay, the first one out is this yarn that I dyed. Can you see? It is beautiful. This is caked up because it's actually a gradient rather than self-striping. It's dyed in exactly the same way I would dye self-striping, but what I did was every stripe was the next tone in a gradient. I can show you better if I show you the actual sock. So I haven't got very far on knitting this up. It starts off very bright green and goes to very dark green, and there are actually 8 different tones, but they blend together almost seamlessly in this repeat. Yeah, so this was a bit of a sort of happy accident. I had 3 skeins of this yak sock base. This is the yak sock base. It's absolutely beautiful yarn that I'd already pre-dyed in a very bright green, and I wasn't going to use them for the project I had planned, so they were just there. And I never 100% knew what to do with them. And I did get the idea of doing this, making them into a gradient self-striping yarn. But I didn't know how well it would work out because they were already quite a bright green to start with. And the yarn base itself is a natural grey, so you can't go very light with it. But actually, I'm just so happy with it. I absolutely love how it's working out. And yeah, I just would love to have a range that is just self-striping gradient yarn in all colours. Imagine that future. Puka, hi! Here, Pooks. Oh, Puka, you've got to do a thing! Come here. Now then, Pooks. There's a little girl called Lainey who watches the podcast who said she wanted to say hello to you, and I said that I would get you to say hello back. So you're going to say hello? Look down the camera and wave to Lainey. I think that's more of a squirm than a wave. Hang on. Hang on. Puka, Puka. So yeah. Get there. So yeah, I'll get you to wave. One moment. Puka. Hi, lady. Hi. Hello. Don't be grumpy. Go on, over there. Yes. Yes, Puka is available for requests. Yeah, anyway, there's not really an awful lot more to say about this one. I do have 2 skeins of it available, but I think I'm going to try and get some yarns dyed together and do a little shop update, which will have more than just 2 skeins of yarn in it. I'm also doing some work on my website at the moment, but again, I'll talk about that in newsy bits. Yeah, so that was the first self-striping that I dyed. I was really pleased with that. One of the things when I dye self-striping is that the ideas for colours just go so many. Just, I want all the yarn and I want to dye it all. But I did need to dye some red yarn. Yeah, so I need some red yarn for the next month in the Rainbow Chronicles. January was pink, remember these, and February was red. So I thought I would dye some up. I did have a look around online and just didn't really spot anything. I think probably it'll all come out next month for sort of Valentine's Day or whatnot, or towards the end of this month. So I was playing around with the ideas of doing a red tonal, which is what I've dyed. I'll show you in a bit. But while I was playing with all those reds, I noticed that I have barely any red yarn in my stash whatsoever. And it's not really a colour sort of set that I play with very often. So I wanted to sort of change that, and I'd warped up some 3 skeins to do a 8-stripe self-striping yarn. And I wanted to have a play with, if my main colour in that set of stripes was red, what was my yarn going to look like? Well, I can show you. So, this was the yarn that I dyed up. So the main colour in it is this red, which is the middle colour here. And then I chose to go for darker and lighter tones of red. Yeah, so I decided to highlight the red, and then go for other sort of red tones. I wanted to put a pink in there, and then sort of more sort of salmony, russety pinks, and then bring out other colours to go in that palette. I had a few pictures that I was looking at for inspiration, so there were many florals like poppies, and so I wanted to pick out those dark, deep colours in the poppies and in the leaves, and also the reds. This one I dyed up on a tweedy sock base. I only had 1 skein of this left, so I had it for me. And then it's just this burgundy plain colour that's on the heels, toes and cuff. I got one of those right at least. So when I dyed this, all these stripes were meant to be even, but actually I'd plotted it out slightly wrong. So they come out and you've got 1 thicker stripe and 1 thinner stripe. Between this red and this blue, that was a bit of an accident where the marker slipped, so the red is definitely thicker. But actually I really love that. I love the fact that these stripes are uneven. I think it just makes it look really individual. You tell me what you think, but I am so happy with this yarn. Really am. Yeah. I don't think I've come up with a name for this colourway yet. I do have 2 full skeins, full 100-gram skeins bit on just a plain 75-25 base, and there probably will be a 50-gram skein on the tweedy base left when I've taken off what I need for my sample pair. But yeah. So those are my last 2 works in process. Cal, was that you? Cal? Did you come in? Yeah, that's the tweedy yarn there. and this is how far I am on the second sock. But I was so excited knitting this yarn that I knit this whole sock in one day. It felt like it knit itself. My hands were a tiny bit sore at the end of the day, but honestly it just flew, because it was like, I knit up here to see, I wanted to see whether this mistake was going to look okay. It looked fine, I was happy with it. But then I wanted to knit another repeat just to check, and by that point I'd knit the foot and just whizzed up the leg. This was the second one. So yeah, you can see I'm doing that 6x2 rib again on it, and again I am doing the purl stitches on the back needle as well. So that is it in plain stockinette, and that is it in ribbed. I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy. All I want to do is dye self-striping yarn, but I've got to do work as well. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for works in progress. Yeah, that's all I'm working on at the moment. Now then, there isn't really an acquisitions section today. I have not been buying yarn. I have dyed yarn. This is the red yarn that I have dyed for my February pair for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. I made this yarn at the same time as I dyed this self-striping. I knew that I wanted this yarn to be washes of red to create a tonal yarn. And so when I was doing the deep washes on here, I was able to use this to mop up and get washes of colour, whereas this got the concentrate on colour of the colours, this was able to mop it up. And then when I'd done all that, I gave it a big bath in the brightest red that I have, and it is absolutely beautiful. Really red, red, red. Yeah. I will badly skein that up. So yeah, that is the red yarn that I have dyed, now looking very messy. And the only other thing that I have to show you is another Christmas gift that I haven't shown on the podcast yet, but because I have no other yarn to show you, I thought you could drool over this, because believe me, I am doing. And this is something that I actually got in Black Elephant Yarn's sale that she did before Christmas. Two of these colours are one of a kind. This sock is this skein is her opal colourway, and this came as a set. Is that going to focus on those? For a special price, I got all three of these 100-gram skeins. They are her sock base, which is just $75.25, and it's like a gradient of absolutely amazing yarnness. Have not decided what to do with these. They would look lovely together. They would look lovely individual. But yeah, it was just a treat from me to me for Christmas. And you haven't seen them yet, so as I have no other yarn to show you, I thought I would show you these. And that is Black Elephant, who do amazing yarns. Absolutely amazing yarns. But yeah. So, that's pretty much it for the yarniness. I'm going to natter on for a little bit, but I'm going to click the camera. Yeah, so just a quick sort of update on lifey stuff. We are in a full national lockdown in the UK, so that means HomeSense, where I work part-time, is closed. And as of the end of this month, I no longer work there. That is just a sort of company-wide thing. Anybody who was on a temporary contract, which I was only ever guaranteed work there until January. Yeah, so it was a company-wide thing. When they announced the lockdown, we were all going to be let go at the end of January. That is fine. So that is fine. That means either need to look for a new job or whatnot. But the main thing is we're in lockdown, there's not a lot I can do. I can't go out and search for a retail job when all the shops are shut. And my other work I can do, that is fine. Now the good news is that when HomeSense reopen, there is a high chance I could go back. If they have hours available, they will be in touch, and yeah, I could go back, which is great. So fingers crossed for that one. But what that does mean is that for however long this national lockdown lasts, I won't get the furlough money that people get. So for at least all of February. Now, that is one of the main reasons I haven't been splurging on yarn, because I'm left alone with the internet and people are selling yarn and I haven't been buying all of it. There is a reason for that. Good girl, Pooks. Yeah. So for February, I think that's going to be the difficult month, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. Now, the good news is some crochet work has come in. So I've got about 2 to 3 weeks of sort of full-time crochet work, doing some crochet design, which is really exciting. I'm going to be working with an editor on a proposal for a new set of magazines. I can't tell you anything more about it, I can't show you anything about it, but yeah, that's really good. So actually I do have pretty much enough work to be going for February, so that's nothing to worry about. But going forward, I do need to think sensibly about certain things. Mainly like my website and my Etsy shop and stuff like that, and whether I am going to be doing the yarn dyeing properly. And the answer is I definitely hope so. I don't know how feasible it is, but I want to. Can I do like magic ball thing? No. So yeah, I want to be dyeing self-striping yarn. That is what I want to be doing. I'm still going to be doing my crochet design stuff, it's what I always do. But that is the main thing I want to be doing. And I want to be doing more YouTube. I want to be doing studio vlogs. I want to be doing the tutorials. I have all the set up. I've got the studio here. It's what I want to do. So yeah, so I need to sort of knuckle down during this lockdown and be more proactive on stuff like that. So I'm going to be working on the website. So if all my details are on here. This is the other thing that I need to work on. This hodgepodge of all the different names that I work under. So this podcast is the Yarn Waffle podcast because it is where I waffle on about yarny things. But my business on Etsy is Amigurumi Barmy because that was the name I came up with however many years ago, and I thought it was funny then. I think that needs to change. One, I'm also going to come off Etsy. Etsy, while a very good platform in itself, charges an awful lot to its designers and sellers. And when I'm selling PDF patterns and they are taking a quarter of what I make, sorry, you're wobbling, Puka. I need to come off Etsy. But also Etsy generates a lot of traffic for me, so it's a very difficult conundrum as to what to do. But yeah, the main thing I'm going to be working on is my website. So I'm going to be putting all the YouTube stuff on there, and I'm going to be opening a shop on there. So that, and also what I really want to do is just get all my free patterns on there. I have so many free patterns and they aren't accessible easily anywhere because I have an old blog but I don't upload that. Some of them are on Ravelry but not all of them. So yeah, I feel like there's a sort of scatteriness that needs to come together in one place, and that place will be my website, which at the moment is called Lizward Crochet. Now obviously I don't just do crochet anymore, in fact I knit more than I crochet, and while crochet is still my main job, I want everything to come under the same umbrella. I just don't know what to call that umbrella. So this is where I'm asking for help. What do I call my umbrella? It needs to cover my hand dyeing yarn, it needs to cover this podcast, and it needs to cover my knitting and crochet designs. Do I just call it Lizward Crafts? Do we go for the Yarn Waffle Studio? I don't know. Do we come up with a new name altogether that we all like and we all agree on, and we're just like, this is the umbrella, this is what it's all called, this will be the name of the new website, and it will all be there. Help. Please help, because I'm driving myself bonkers with it. Because it feels like the stalling block, because there is not a lot of point doing the website if the website is on a domain that's the wrong domain and I have to start it again from scratch on a new domain. Yeah. Is there a point doing stuff to the Etsy shop when I'm going to be closing the Etsy shop? This is my main stumbling block. It is this name. I want it needs to be the one name that covers everything, I think. I think we can continue calling this podcast Yarn Waffle Podcast. Whatever else, I think that can stay the same, because that's the sort of thing in itself. But the channel name will probably change back to Lizward Crafts or whatever. Don't know. Please help, because I am driving myself slightly potty with it. But yes. So anyway, that is the new stuff. There is going to be a few small changes, but not big changes. Nothing scary happening. Hopefully just more content, more fun things to actually show you. Yeah, and hopefully ways for you guys to get involved as well. So I think we need to set up a Ravelry group for the podcast. I think we're getting to enough subscribers now where it makes that feasible, which means I'm going to have to up my use of Ravelry. Maybe I should just turn the computer on slightly more. Yeah. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. We'll go from there. We'll work on it together. Because you guys subscribe to this podcast. A lot of you have been here since the beginning. I don't want to do anything drastic so that the next time there's an episode you can't find it. Yeah. Nothing drastic will happen. We'll sort it out together. But please leave your comments and tell me what you think. What name do you think we should... My umbrella, this thing. Let's sort it out. Let's go for one name for most of the things. Right, I'm going to stop waffling on because, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Please do give this video a like if you liked it. And think about subscribing if you want to see future videos. It really does help. I know I say it every week, but it's the YouTube algorithm gods that we have to bow down to, and yeah. So yeah, please do. It really helps. Yeah, all the information from this episode you can find in the drop down description menu underneath the YouTube video thing, this thing that you're watching, and you will all find clickable links to all my things. Please do go and have a look at my website and see what you think of it as it is at the moment. I will be making updates on it this week. Yeah, there is all the ways that you can contact me there, including my Ko-fi account if you want to buy me a coffee. Would be very much appreciated. Much more of a tea drinker myself, but I'm not going to say no. Yeah, and I will be back next week. I know. Current content. With a studio vlog. I'm going to be doing some self-striping bits and just general knitting, and the cats being the cats. Because you didn't really get to see much of them today. They were around, but mainly under the desk. Yeah, I will see you soon. Take care. Bye, friends.